Nice shades, David.
Yeah. Wow.
What's with the
Where's
handbag?
He take these back, brother. Thanks for that.
It is a bit
You're
bright
right, we
out
did
here.
need them.
Oh,
look
now I
better
can
on
see
you.
a few more. Yeah. I love that video. I love the fact that it sort of summarises the importance of reconciliation. And there would be no Nutrition Plus without the thought and the intention of reconciliation in action. And it has long been a passion of mine, and we've now been going for 10 years. 10 years, can you believe it? And so our job today is to tell you what we've been doing in that 10 years and what we hope to achieve collectively in the future. But before we do that, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Whadjuk Noongar people, and their elders, past and present, and for their role in raising up the next generation of elders so that we can collectively move forward together in a stronger and more meaningful way. David, do you want to loosen us up a little bit? You haven't told me about this handbag yet.
Oh, it's a clutch. Let's get that right. It's Mimco. It's black and it's furry. And it was donated. The last time I had my hand on a clutch was in the Yarmamobile in the rally that we did. It's a joke. Can you hear me up the back? Good response. Last time I asked that, old mate said, yeah, can hear you, and can I swap seats to someone that can't? I was like, hey, that was a bit harsh, wasn't it?
Bit harsh.
Yes. Now, this here it's a dare. Someone dared me. They said, oh, here, use this to collect your money over at the stand. I was like, oh, that's mad. I was like, yeah, you should wear it on stage. And I was like, don't dare me. It'll cost you $50 and I'll take it out on stage, donate it to Nutrition Plus. So I have it. So there's $50 for Nutrition Plus. I think it's worth more than that. There's something in here. Look at this. There's some wristbands. See them, India. Hey. A few of them there. A couple of them. If you'd like to donate more than $50, you can have this. It's good. But I'll just put it down there.
Okay, let's get cracking.
Oh, that's a pair, by the way. My brother said, can you get me a pair? And I only could find one. So there you go. Catch.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I get it in stereo between Peter and David. It's interesting. So, 10 years, eh? So, first of all, I would like to acknowledge my board for Nutrition Plus. And as you can see, there's some familiar faces on there. And Dr. Kate McGee, she's been on the board since day one, so for the full 10 years. And Stephen Stables is our most recent addition to the board, and he's really been quite helpful already, so it's great to have him aboard. The top row along here were also part of the original board. There'll be a few faces there that you might know, and all the other people that have been involved in Nutrition Plus on the board, except for the last lady, Ellen Seymour. She was the person that helped us with our first project, so I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So Nutrition Plus started off 10 years ago in a room with around 100 people, and some of those people are in this room today. And we started off with donations that we called child sponsorships in those days, and so of those 100 people, I think there was about 80 opted in and started to donate into Nutrition Plus, and we really could not have done anything without those donations back in those days. So if your name is up on this list, could you please just stand and rise, because I'd like to acknowledge you and say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Today, our organisation is supported by a lot more people, and you may not know it, but if you're SDVF or above, 50 cents in every $100 that you earn goes to Nutrition Plus. Now, don't worry if you want to opt out, you just ring the office and you can do that, but, they tell me who you are, so, if you want to do that, that's fine.
You'll find you.
And so collectively, this charity, you're part of this charity, and you need to know about it and how to incorporate it into your Juice Plus stories a little bit more. But first, there's a couple of things about why we went down this path initially, and these statistics bear out the story. And now we also have projects in New Zealand, so I've popped up the Maori statistics there as well. The one that sticks out for me the most is life expectancy and how tragic it is that we lose our grandparents in these communities and the wisdom that goes along with that. And I think that is so tragic. But David, are you there? Do you want to tell that story? It's not just older people that are passing away. So you had a story from this week?
Yeah, sadly, one of our brothers, his sister's a teacher and working in a remote community in the Northern Territory, and it's still very fresh, sorry business, so I won't say what town. But a young boy, he's 21, a young Indigenous boy, and he passed away from a heart attack at 21. Well, what is that?
Yeah, what is that? We've still got a lot of work to do, mate.
When you think about that, we're losing keepers of our story, the people that connect us to our past, for everyone. And then the next generation coming through, that's scary. That's scary.
It also impacts quality of life. And again, you can see a range of not so great statistics there. But again, the one that sticks out for me is the suicide rate. And like many Australians and New Zealanders, I've been touched by suicide in my family and in my circle of friends. And it is quite tragic. But when you look at the rates that are higher in our Indigenous populations, how bad is it for those communities that are suffering with lots of people taking their own lives because they're not connected, they're not feeling connected. And part of what we do with Nutrition Plus is work in reconnecting people and trying to lower these statistics. And suicide is one of the areas that we really want to work on there. So let's get into what we've been up to. Our school projects, we've had 21 school projects over the 10 years. We've got 11 current ones in New South Wales, Northern Territory, Queensland, WA, and New Zealand. Just all up, over all of our projects of all kinds, so we've also got 10 million meals and small grants. We've been able to spend $500,000 in those projects over the 10 years. So I think that's a great tribute to you guys and to the Juice Plus company as a whole. So just give yourselves a big clap there. So this is our first school, and it was actually in Medina, in Perth, a suburb of Perth. And the kids got involved in building gardens, and they also had their Juice Plus, and they did cooking programs. And this particular project had all the elements that we've incorporated into subsequent school projects. So here's another range of some of the kids and teachers with some of the products that go out to the schools, and some of the beautiful gardens that we have, and the kids enjoying it and engaging in that and learning about edible food that they can grow themselves. All very important for their future education and building skills that they can take home as well. This is our most recent school that's got going. So I think we approved this school in May, and they're already started on their school garden. And this project came from one of our franchisees, Emma Bliss. So thank you, Emma, for encouraging them to put in a grant application. And this is our New Zealand school in Te Hapawa. It's in the most northern part of the North Island of New Zealand, and Peter and I were lucky enough to go there last year. And this school came about from another franchisee who unfortunately couldn't be here, and her name is Janelle Lawrence. So lots of good projects coming from our franchisees. Now, 10 Million Meals projects are part of the global Juice Plus Foundation. So thank you, Paolo, for introducing this project. So we're part of all of the Juice Plus companies that are able to provide complete meals to disadvantaged and homeless people of any kind in communities. And we've had 9 10 Million Meals projects, and we're looking for more. So if you have an idea of an organisation in your community that feeds homeless or disadvantaged people, and you think this could be something that you'd like to share with them, come and talk to us out at the Nutrition Plus stand afterwards. And here's just a snapshot of some of those little projects that are out there, and it really does make a difference when people have something in their stomachs something nutritious in their stomachs as opposed to perhaps nothing. Yeah. And we've had 9 small grants, and this is a recent addition to what we've been doing. So this is because of the donations that are now coming in through the Juice Plus Foundation from you guys. We've been able to link arms with like-minded other charities, and pretty much all of these have come through the franchisee base. So the first one is the Preston Campbell Foundation. They're at Dreamworld, so they're doing a whole bush tugger edible garden at Dreamworld, and that's showcasing beautiful foods from our nation to internationals and nationals that visit Dreamworld. And the food from there goes into their cafe, and they support disadvantaged people that have had trouble getting employment, and they put them through a Cert 3 in hospitality in that cafe, and I think about 85% of them then go on to full-time employment elsewhere. So it's a really great partner to have. And then the next one is Backpacks for Aussie Kids. This one is really a very, very interesting one, and I've got Despina coming up to talk about it a little bit. I've actually visited here as well. It's about half an hour from my elder sister's house. She lives in far north Queensland. So I took the opportunity when I was visiting my sister last year to go up and have a look at this organisation. And what they do is they provide backpacks to children that are in crisis and going into foster care. So I'd just like to bring up my friend Despina, who's also a franchisee. Do you want to just...
A bit louder.
Hello, and no heckling, thank you. The Nutrition Plus grant has allowed Backpacks for Aussie Kids Inc. to purchase much-needed clothing to replenish our stocks. I managed to hit the sales at Target and got 50% off the clothing that was already 50% off. Yeah, they just wheeled the trolleys down the front of the counter and put it all through. I was so excited. Husband, not so much excited when I got home. So I spent about $1,200 that day, and I'm now in the process of ordering toiletries from hotel suppliers and bulk buying blankies and torches. But what I really wanted to tell you about this project is one particular story of a 13-year-old African boy living in far north Queensland. He was removed from his home for safety reasons and wasn't able to take any belongings. He was placed with complete strangers for the night, and the support worker brought over a backpack for him, but he was hiding under the bed. He was a 13-year-old boy, ripped from his family, hiding under the bed. So she just left it in the room and went to chat with the carers. When she checked on the young fella later, she saw he'd laid out all his new belongings on the bed very neatly around himself. and was curled up underneath his new blankie, cuddling his new teddy, and he said, "I've never had a teddy bear. Is this really mine?"
Wow.
At which point the support worker sat on the bed, held his hand, and told him it was all his forever. We pack our bags and sizes so the clothes will fit, and I give each soft toy a kiss and tell them to love their new human for every bag I pack. My husband thinks I'm insane. The reason we do what we do is so the kids can have a feeling of safety and belonging, even if it seems materialistic to someone looking in. To the kids, it's absolutely everything. Without the Nutrition Plus grant, we would have struggled to find the funds this year to continue at our full capacity. So thank you to Nutrition Plus and to Louise and David.
Thank you. Good work. Thanks to Spina, that was great. Oh, that story. I mean, stories like that just really get to you. Some of the other small grants, just moving on, that we support. This is one that takes adolescent children during school vacation and links them up with community elders and leaders in their community. And they go off on and do all sorts of things, and they teach resilience, skills that they might need in their future, and also leadership skills. So we love supporting programs like that with disadvantaged children that otherwise might not come into contact with the people that are able to motivate them and show them a different future. This is another project that they've actually been running now for 2 years. We've supported this one for 2 years. It's a women's festival on the north coast of New South Wales. And I think I have a little video. One of our board members, Kate, went to this one this year and said it was fantastic. So I'm just going to...
I just want to acknowledge that we're here on Biripi land and pay my respects to the elders past and present and the future elders here today. Jigan Dalban movement grew from an idea of bringing women together. It's a sister movement. It's a strong sister movement. It's about looking after yourself and looking after your sisters. Traditionally, I felt that our people looked after each other, especially our women. We had women's business, and over time, some of that has changed for us. The mobs don't live in the same place anymore. Our families across Australia and sometimes across the world, so we're unable to do that. So a little bit about Strong Sister. Jigan Dalban, sisters gathering in unity with open hearts, creating safe spaces to share and yarn, promoting self-empowerment and leadership, respecting diversity, nurturing well-being in self and others, reviving Aboriginal culture through language and practices.
So I think there's about 3 of us that are heading up there next year. They've already put in their grant application for 2019. So, and I think we've already approved that at the last board meeting, didn't we? Yeah, we did.
Yes.
So this is our other New Zealand project that we've got at the moment. And again, it's a camp for adolescent children during school holidays. And they pretty much go and do great things out in the environment and catch things and learn how to cook them. And it's just amazing the impact that these sorts of camps can have on kids and how they take that forward in their school and their lives. And again, this project was put forward by a franchisee, Mel Carney. So thanks again for linking us up. And then we've got Reach Homeless Services in Hamilton. Now, Mick Egan is now a director on the board for this particular a charity. It's a great charity. It feeds a lot of people and it provides lots of different things, care packages, toiletries, all sorts of things to help ease the pain of being homeless to lots of people. And David and Nathan regularly go down there and assist on a Friday night. I think we approved a second year for that organisation as well, because they do such a great job every Friday night, and it's a big commitment to be down there in the cold, in the rain often, and assisting there. So it's a really worthwhile project. The other thing that we as a board, and David and I in particular, like to do is lead by example in putting reconciliation into action. So I'm just going to share some things about what we do when we're out and about a little bit. So this is David at some of the schools. He spends a lot of time in schools talking to kids and sharing. Is there anything in particular you'd like to talk about now, or you're going to talk about that a little bit later? Yep, okay, cool. When I give you a chance to speak.
I'm good, Mum.
And we often have events in schools that David in particular gets invited to, and this was an opening of a yarning circle in one of our schools, and it was a beautiful day, and lots of participation with the kids there as well. I might get you to talk about this one, David, and the next slide.
That's one of the maddest photos I've ever seen. And it's not because I'm in it. I am in it, and if you can pick me out, I'll throw you some soft chews. What, have we got soft chews to give out? Oh.
Just what you ate them.
That symbolises so much in what we do with that reconciliation piece. That gathering there in particular 10 years ago was about sharing story, sharing dance and song with whoever turned up, Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal, in that spirit of reconciliation, love, harmony, unity, sharing and caring. And it is an all-time, it just symbolises everything for me in that picture. I think we danced for about 3 hours that night. We'll dance longer than that tomorrow night.
All right. And this one?
Steve.
You want to talk about this one?
Me and you dance, bro. Well, and that there was this year. So we support a women's festival, and we keep that balance because we support a group of pretty rough-looking blokes, just quietly, to come together and build story, become strong men, take that back to the community, and continue to demonstrate what that looks like. And every one of those fellas who danced this morning is in that photo. And it's because of those sorts of gatherings and the story that's been connected to that makes us the men that we are. And we like to have that photo represent the Women's Festival and the Men's Gathering. That was out at Lake Mungo.
So what we actually do with this particular group, we send up enough complete for the time that they're up there. Was it a week this time, about that? And also soft chews, and I can tell you that all goes down a treat.
They smashed them.
Yep.
So I had to make them all.
So we always also like to get out and about and partner with you guys. If you're having Juice Plus events, we're very happy to come along and also talk about Nutrition Plus. Between us, I think we can do a product, business and Nutrition Plus presentation if we're pushed. So that's all good. And so here's some photos of us getting out and about and talking at Juice Plus events. Some of them are Nutrition Plus events only, so all we're doing is sharing Nutrition Plus and teaching franchisees how to incorporate Nutrition Plus into their Juice Plus story. So we have a lot of fun doing that. We love doing it. If you have a few franchisees in your area, and you're interested in learning more about Nutrition Plus, and you'd like us to come and visit, come and see us, and we'll see if we can make that happen. It's been a busy year already, and it's going to be a busy year. But this is some of the things that we're also getting up to now. The first photo is Peter shared about the Variety Bash. And David and my son Jonathan, who works in our warehouse, and Peter and another mate, Anthony, all went out on the road and they co-fundraised for the Variety Bash and Nutrition Plus. They had a ball, but it finished on the day of our daughter's wedding. So Peter and Jonathan had to come back a day early, and David and Anthony brought it home. But I think they just had a wonderful, incredible time. And next year, I think we're looking at a second car. Is that right, Peter? Yeah. And maybe a girls' car, I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. It's not a race.
I know Elsie's up for it. And in the middle, now, if any of you were watching the lives last Friday night, you saw this legend rowing a marathon, rowing on a row machine for Nutrition Plus. It was just mesmerising. It was epic. If anyone has spent any time on a row machine, you know what it's like. After 10 minutes, you're kind of like, oh, that's enough. 3 hours and 43 minutes, non-stop.
Bit slow, but
Yeah.
we got there. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So his huge effort and my effort, which I'm doing a 50k walk on the 3rd of August,
50 Ks.
Yep.
Wow.
was inspired by a franchisee, Kirsty Oswald. Are you there somewhere, Kirsty? Yeah. Who ran a marathon for Nutrition Plus. So there's lots of things happening. You can get involved in fundraisers, and if you get inspired to do something yourself, we'd be happy to help you figure out how to fundraise there. So other things that we do is we sometimes get asked to do corporate events and speak to other groups of people. So here's some examples of hanging out with some other people. There's Fee and Christine up there as well. Yeah, we went on a bushwalk one day.
Eating the poison bush tucker.
We
Maybe
sort
a
of
stitch up.
snuck out of the office and went for a bushwalk. It was great. Absolutely love NMD school, and the second day of NMD school is a real treat. We get to take you out with Uncle Paul, who is our cultural mentor for Nutrition Plus. He's one of the wisest men I've ever come across in my whole life, and I love him dearly. And so please aspire to get yourself there. It's a game changer and a life changer. And I'm now going to hand over for a few minutes to my dear friend David. I really don't know where we would be without David and Nathan on our board, and the massive contribution that they sow into us all of the time. So thank you.
Hey, thanks. Ooh, got one of these.
You don't need it.
Don't need it. That's right. I've got it. Yeah, I guess the one thing that was feedback we got from last year. We wanted to show you more about what we were doing this time, what that looked like, and use different modes, some videos and some yarning. And that's really important because I want you to really, please, hear this. We are your charity. We only are able to do what we do because all you deadly fellas here in this room and others that can't be with us. So on behalf of the board and all the supporters that work in and around Nutrition Plus, I want to thank you very much. So give yourselves a big clap, like a big one. And Louise, we're off to a good start because I haven't talked about cherries or popping, so that's good for those that were last year. I'll talk about that. So I often get asked about, how can I get involved in Nutrition Plus? And, I put it in my story. And I just want to share something about why I feel so strongly about why it makes sense to have Nutrition Plus, your charity, involved in your Juice Plus yarn and your story. And I've shared this a couple of months ago. In 2016, there was some research. So I'm sharing this with you for two reasons. One, to show off that I can read, and I went on Google Scholar, and I did some research, first time ever, but to make a point. in 2016, Giving Australia wanted to do some investigation into philanthropy, the art of giving, or that whole paradigm of giving in Australia. They've got Queensland University to look into it. They've done the study 10 years prior. Over 80%, what they found is over 80% of adults in that year, over 13.5 million people, donated. They gave something in the spirit of sharing and caring. And the average give was phenomenal. It came to an amount that I just couldn't believe. I had to read it again and thinking, is that a typo? How much do you think they gave in that year? It's a lot of people. A couple $100 or total. Throw a number. Fee, what do you reckon? Higher than 1 million. Like heaps higher. 20 million, more. 12.1 billion. Yeah, exactly. That's a lot. Lord, Juice Plus. So what that did for me was like, well, hang on a minute. There's a lot of people in this country that see giving, for whatever reason, to a charity or non-for-profit as a high value, something important to them. So if you don't think that Nutrition Plus or this charity piece is not a part of your Juice Plus story, well, there's over 13.5 million Australians that kind of think a bit differently. So I wanted to share that whole idea of giving and raising arms. I hear it all the time in Juice Plus, in our events and in our work, linking arms, bringing people up, sharing and giving. So I wanted to share that. We often get asked, oh, what can it look like for me to do my thing? Oh, I don't have much time, or I don't really have coin, I don't have much to give, or I don't often hear I'm not talented, which is good. Because that's the 3 T's to giving: time, treasure, talent. So it looks very differently, just like your conference experience. It's all very different and individual for you. And so we'll often get asked, how can I give? I'm going to share a story with you. And all my stories are true. They really are. They really are true. But I want to share something about this connectedness of how we do Nutrition Plus. This is a true story. We're so successful. I really believe this is a massive part of why in Juice Plus we're smashing it. Other than ask Siri, what's the most researched? Come on, put your hand up if you've done that. What's the most researched product in the world? A massive part of, we have the best product in the world. It's natural, pesticide, herbicide free. You know the drill. Comes from Mother Earth. It's grown and has been done like that for thousands of years. And so at NMD school, Uncle Paul asked me to share this, and I wanted to share this with you all. So because of that, we have the best product. It's a part of your success. What's your relationship? We're a relationship charity. We're a relationship charity of a relationship company. What's your relationship with that product? What do you understand about where that comes from? And what are you giving? What are you giving back to that? I just want you to, there's no answer required. I just want you to think about that. Because if we didn't have that awesome product, is there Juice Plus? Well, there was a bit earlier. So I wanted to share that. In a couple of the schools recently, and I always try and share a yarn and really join the dots between Juice Plus, the relationship with Nutrition Plus, and the product those young fellas been able to put into their bodies. And so I tell the yarns. In the last 12 months, we've seen a new product come out. It was the Omegas, Omega-3s. And it's fish friendly, which is really good, eh? So be really comfortable knowing that out there in the world, fish love us in Juice Plus. It's a vegan product. It's lovely. So Dory, Nemo, we love you. Bruce, all them. Bruce, if you got kids, you know that one. And I shared this yarn earlier in the year, and this young fella up the back, it's a true story, and this young fella up the back, and he's listening, and like, yeah, and we've got the soft chews, and they're in your breakfast club, and the shakes, the products, they're great, and we got the berries, and we got the fruit and the veg, and this new one, the Omega-3s, and he's looking real puzzled. And then at the end of the yarn, he come up, and he said, oh, Uncle Dave, he said, out the back in our bush tucker garden, we got like lemon trees and orange trees and lily-pilly trees. He said, but where are the Omega trees? And no, true, he did. And I was like, no, Omega-3s. So maybe that was something on me. But that's a true story. He said that. And why I wanted to share that is because these young fellas have a relationship now with Better Health Nutrition to the product. And that is really, really important. The other thing I wanted to share with you is when we've been yarning out on the table, we all have a story. And I love hearing everyone's story. Last year, I encouraged everyone and just supported that idea of we've heard some great stories today. And we encourage these young fellas in the schools and the projects to value a story, to know your story, know more of your story. It's that idea of knowing where you come from helps explain where you are today. And sometimes the story's not real great. So I'm going to share a story with you that might help you answer that idea or that question of how can I get involved? Another true story. Two young fellas, they're brothers, maybe David, maybe Nathan, I don't know. One real humble and the other one not. Nathan. And they spend a lot of time not falling in line, not following a path that's been walked for them, not following the footprints of those that have walked before them, always coming up with new things, the next big thing. I'm going to create it. I'm going to do this. And that manifested itself by always trying to trick their old Juma, their old grandfather, old Nudge. Trick him all the time. And Nathan came to David one day and said, I got it. I got him this time, the old fella. I was like, oh, he said, righto, what do you got? He said, I got this duck, Darrakul, got a duck. Poor thing's nearly dead. He said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it behind my back. And I'm going to ask this old fella, our old grandfather, the wisest human we know, who leads the way with his wife. They're a team. We're going to sit there. I'm going to say to that old fella, is the duck alive? And David looked at Nathan and said, oh, this is not going to end well. He's like, no, I got it, he said. So a big crowd gathered. They're like, here it is, the daily ritual. Here comes David and Nathan. They're going to try and catch this old fella out. Won't happen. Anyway, real proud, Nathan said, Nudge, Yamu. So he didn't do that because he had his hands behind his back. He said, behind me, Darrakul is here. Is he alive or dead? And the old fella paused, looked at him with a little cheeky grin, a smile, and he just called the boys forward. He didn't want to shame them. And they leaned in, he had a little cheeky grin. And he said, boys, the answer is in your hands. So, if you want to get involved in Nutrition Plus, on however that looks for you, the answer is in your hands. Yes. So come and visit us at the stand. And you may also get a chance to connect up with the Wockagiddy fellas, my nephews, my brothers. Give them a little shout out. They're over there. Give them a like on, what is it, Insta, Twitter, Facebook and that. Something. There's a website there. Like them. Get to know them.
Thanks, Dave.
40 seconds left.
40 seconds left. Yeah. So seriously, we just want to thank each and every one of you. Whether you know it or not, you do now, that you're part of the Nutrition Plus story as much as you're part of the Juice Plus story. We so appreciate you. And if you want to find out more, just come and have a chat. Thank you. Don't forget your man bag.
Just before we go, there's a gift to Louise and Peter from the Wockagiddy men. It's a symbol of the relationship we've got with the Juice Plus company, with Nutrition Plus. It's symbolic of pushing away any of that negative stuff as a shield. The men insisted. And before we go, to get my 5 quoted dad jokes, talking about fish, what did the fish say? When he swam into the wall, he said, damn.